Hi, and welcome to KXAM Plus. I'm your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and we have our Simple Health episode here for you all today. Helping me do this is our KXAN Simple Health expert, Jose Torres. Jose, thank you for joining me. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Esme. Thank you again for having me this week.
Of course, as always, this is almost our last episode of the year. And before we get into it, Jose, what is Simple Health and why do we cover it here?
Well, here at KXAN Simple Health, we want to bring you some stories of hope, also to empower you with information. There's so many untold stories here in the medical community in Austin and the Austin area. And so we try to share those with you. It might be you or maybe a loved one who is living through some health challenges. And so we want to share those hopeful stories of either treatments, clinical research, which there's plenty of here that we talk about. And so, again, just try to bring you or that loved one some hope and empower you again with information.
That's right, Jose, making health a little bit more simple for all of our viewers. We are back with another episode, and this topic is about something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Jose, what are we going to be talking about today?
So, Esme, I know you're in a running journey. So, like to you right now, walking 2,500 steps should be easy, right?
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it should be. But now imagine adding more to that and walking 2,500 miles. That's crazy, right?
That is crazy work.
But the man we're talking to, we actually, like you said, spoke to a while back. And we have some video actually of him as he was leaving Austin because he was headed towards Oregon City, Oregon. There he is with his family, his support group down in Southeast Austin. And so he's on a mission to raise awareness of suicide prevention. And so I caught up with him and his support group there before he made that 2,500-mile trek.
It's about how we're able to pick each other up when we don't feel like we should or someone would want to. So I just got to say thank you for showing up on those days to allow me to feel like I could do something like this.
It says every step is a step towards healing. We think it's like part of his healing with losing a very close friend of his, and also to raise awareness that, you know, sometimes people need your support and you might not know it.
I don't know everything on mental health. I don't know everything on being human, but I do know that sometimes it's just earning that next 24 hours. And you guys allowed me to build that to where I just desire to be here. And because of a culture like that, a family like that, a community like that, that's why this walk matters.
He's the fifth of my children, the youngest, the baby boy. And I'm going to ask, I don't get choked up,
Gosh, that's where I get it from.
that you keep him in prayer over these days, okay? That's my greatest ask of you. He feels very deeply, which is why probably he wants to do this, to make that difference.
In high school, he would always go find the kid sitting by himself at lunch and go sit by him.
I want one quick picture, and then I'm taking the next step.
Have someone around you that believes in you more than yourself, and you'd be amazed on what's going to happen. Like this.
And we have him here in our studio with us, Alex Bradley. Thanks so much for joining us. And we're so happy that you're back and you made it from your walk.
Well, first, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Pardon the sound of either getting choked up, but that was valuable to watch to kind of see not only the guy that walked, but also everybody that was there because nobody left. People went home, but I was able to take all of those people on that walk. So sorry, it's good to be here. Here, I'm back. So,
Well, thank you. So, like we said, we talked to you first right when you were about to leave, and to share AJ's story. So, for those who are watching this episode for the first time, tell us a little bit about AJ and who he was and what he meant to you.
well, first, AJ's tough to put into words, especially as I've gone on this walk and been able to really think about what does a person mean to you and what do their memories mean to you. But he's worth every step that I've ever taken, and that's what's important. The relationship and the connection that I had with that individual helped me carry myself through things that I couldn't, even when he couldn't carry himself and he made that last step. So AJ is a beacon of hope for me that somebody that great, a friend you can talk to at 2 a.m., even with a knot in the room, if you're able to experience that emotion, AJ's been able to transcend a lot of things. He never got a chance to have a stage, but I got to watch him shine through a walk. And he was able to gift me some of the best moments with my family. And that's all because I decided to honor him and not forget and not put away a hard memory to process and why it happened. He allowed me to look at myself a lot deeper than most humans ever will, to see why we're in a state where people don't want to be here and why we want to self-sabotage. And he's just a kid that I wanted to make a pizza with in the 9th grade. And we got to joke around. So I don't even know how to describe him, but I think that does a pretty good job.
Yeah, he meant a lot to you.
Absolutely.
That is so sweet. And you walked to remember him from Texas to Oregon. Talk to me about that entire trek. Did you feel him with you the entire time? What were the obstacles that came forward?
I think there were so many obstacles that came forward. Yes, he was with me every step of the way. That doesn't mean that you feel it every step of the way, no matter what it is. So I think walking 2,560 miles, the reality of it's beautiful. And if you check my Instagram, it looks pretty neat. My buddy Nick and Driver did a fantastic job in capturing that. And I highly recommend watch all of it because it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It is very human. I'm crying on the side of the road. I'm throwing up half the time. And I don't know how well I look running. It's not athletic, but
We have some of that video here.
but it's real. And I think the obstacle was getting over my own pride to think it was going to be anything other than human and messy and chaotic and beautiful. So every obstacle is so much better from the perspective of being done. Of course, it's a lot easier to be happy. But I had to treat Mother Nature like a girlfriend, and I had to treat the sun like a best friend and the moon like a father and a mother. Like I had to treat the world like it was taking care of me, because it is. And that sounds so silly. I don't have any woo-woo crazy belief system, but when you have to deal with nature, you respect and love nature, and then you respect and love yourself by being able to succumb and accept what happens. That was so hard. And there's many other things like food and water and gas, but Mother Nature doesn't tell you if it cares or not. You just roll with it and finding a way to get through. I had questions. I had to chat GPT like crazy.
Tell us about this video that we're seeing. It started with you embracing the cold shower or the cold rain.
Yeah, so that is the last mile. That right there, I highly encourage, if you guys have a chance, have an Instagram, or just have the opportunity. I had a phenomenal group film this last little bit, and it's so raw and so real. And there's just a little clip where I talk about that 2 a.m. talk with AJ and how I'm sitting here with my brothers and having this moment. And it's just little bits and pieces throughout it. But that last little walk, you're trying to figure out what those 100 days felt like. How did you get here? How are you this person? Are you even are you able to be so proud of yourself in the moment and grieve and take in everybody that showed up for you along the way? And that video does a pretty good job of at least feeling a little moment of what I felt, a chance to talk to the other side, a chance to, man, most people are worried about their 401k. Most people are worried about if the words come out right, if it sounds good, if people care. But the point is, I care and I felt. And if I can translate that to a silly walk for a dear friend, most people can do most things in life at a much harder level. So the fact that you guys showed that video, the last mile, the fact that I'm interviewing on a station that can go somewhere, I don't care about so many things, but I care a whole lot about somebody feeling like they can do something like I did, because it's not special. The secret in the sauce is just being broken and saying, I will. Because if your daughter, if your mom, if your son asks you those questions, you tell them that. You tell them that they're capable. And if we're able to just bypass that, look in the mirror and tell ourselves truly that I love you, Alex, and I'm so glad you're here. You cannot fill a cup unless yours is filled. And I'm so glad that I'm protecting in doing that so I don't miss out on my family and I don't miss out on doing great things like a walk. Because that's all we're doing. We're just walking on the path and we're showing people that it's worth walking. And that's really cool. So I hope someone watches that video. It's really awesome and it's honored just to share that.
Yeah, and we're so happy to have you here and to follow you from your journey from the beginning to now that you're back and after you've reflected after that entire walk. Talk to us about who you met along the way and what they told you.
There would be times where you're on the side of the road and the van will cause attention. It's a big, loud van. Everybody likes big wheels and loud trucks. But you sit and you talk to a guy who's been an oil rigger for 40 years and you didn't know that that was going to be the time that he was going to open up to you on the side of a road just to tell you, yeah, man, I lost 13 friends this past 5 years. When does that man have a chance to say that? And I'm not looking for anything. I'm not selling anything. I'm simply just hoping someone wants to talk to me. And maybe if I get money to get gas, that's cool. But maybe that person is able to change someone else's life. And through all the places of Western United States, as we traveled north, you got to see how people were just making it. And none of them had any reason to say hi, but they did. And so you'd meet people like in Bieber, California, a very interesting state with its own thoughts and everything. And I shot guns off a back porch with a guy and a chicken fried steak. That doesn't happen. Or in Las Cruces, New Mexico, we stayed for 3 days with a gentleman named Angel, who was a legitimate angel, just because we took a picture near a Prada store in Texas. There's moments where you can't put a dollar bill or a reason or a logical idea around it. You just see people being able to trust you because they looked in your eyes and you looked in theirs. So it's not necessarily what they said or even what they did. It's just you felt like you could do it again. And that's sometimes all you can do day to day. And so there'd be people that would buy us meals, people that would pay for our gas, or people that would just say, do you need something? They don't have to do that on West Texas. Texas was phenomenal. I'd be on a dirt road and I'd have 4 or 5 ranchers or oil riggers or anybody with a vehicle that would go down that road, stop and check on me. And it would get quieter and quieter as I got further and further up. And it's just really sweet whenever some people have things that they don't have to do and they stop on highways just to say hi, just to cook you a meal, or just to tell you how the restaurant showed up. These are small towns. These people are living lives for years. I'm there for 24 hours. I get to hear why they showed up, how they're married, why they're divorced, if they want to be there, why they're working at a gas station at 40. And I valued everyone and they valued me. And I still text people from Love's gas station that showed up and gave us sauce packets because we didn't know where they were. That's Christy she is from Odessa, Texas, and she's messaged me every month to tell me congratulations. Oh. How valuable is that?
Yeah.
I just think people devalue a chance to make someone else valuable. And I got a chance to do that just because I was too tired and on a walk. So just those little feelings.
If we allow ourselves to talk to people, we find that we have so much in common.
Yeah. And half of that is just realizing most of the time what people are saying or what people are doing has nothing to do with you. And that sounds like an old nursery rhyme. And I've been hit with the Hobby Lobby signs of duality and the universe over and over on this walk. But there are so many miracles in the mundane. And part of it is taking time to realize that most people wake up every day, look in the mirror if they're conscious and able enough, and probably go, what the heck is going on? And that is so okay to realize for yourself, because if you can give yourself that grace, who can hurt you? You can't take offense. A friend can't hurt you because they aren't holding a dagger. They're holding a bandage. You realize people are mostly just saying things to offer the best help. They may not have the vocab. They may not have the social skills. And frankly, you may not be able to receive what they're saying. And that's the secret, is just being okay that everything's never going to be okay. And most people are figuring it out. And so just being able to meet people where they're at and meet yourself where you're at and just do life. Don't take it so seriously. And day by day, it gets a little softer. You stop thinking so much about the things that keep you up at night. You start hoping for things. You start hoping for others. You start thinking about others above yourself. And all of a sudden, you've lived a fantastic life. And I didn't say anything about a dollar bill or a social media post. I just think that's important for, as we move into society, everybody looks at what people see versus what do you feel and what do you care? you know? Simple.
Obviously, you're athletic.
I hope sometimes.
So the walking part, you would think, oh, it's easy, but it's 2,500 and something miles.
Yes.
How did you prepare physically and emotionally?
Emotionally, I was not ready for. Physically, I just simply thought it's a numbers game. At worst, I would just start walking, and my goal was 20,000 steps. And then it became 40,000 steps a day. And then it became 50,000 steps a day. And then it became 60,000 steps. And at that point, I realized I'm walking a marathon plus a day, and it's grueling and it's terrible. But I'm able to do this with a full work schedule. I'm able to do this. And it wasn't by my grandiose training ability. It was honestly me texting individuals in my community and saying, do you want to walk with me? Everybody thought it was this beautiful way for me to build into the community. And it was. It was also a very selfish and beautiful way to use human connection to get things done. Because I told this constantly with Nick, for me to mentally prepare and physically prepare, I said the ability to realize you're lazy is a definition of discipline, because you start changing things. If you can't think that you are lazy and that you can realize where you can grow and be okay with that, then you'll be stuck wondering why you aren't disciplined. I don't know why my stuff wouldn't get folded, or why the van would be a mess, or why I'm so tired and be like, oh, I didn't sleep, or I didn't fold things, or we didn't take the time. There's nothing else to do other than realize that. And using other people to get yourself out of that process and just go on a walk with people, and you just do it every day. I mean, it's not overly complicated to do. It just takes an amazing amount of willpower and the ability to feel like a failure long enough to do something great. And I just picked people to walk with. And that was it. Like, I trained hard and I do other things and I try to stay mobile. The biggest thing was being able to stretch when I didn't want to, sleep as deep as I could, particularly on the walk, and slow down enough to realize that the thoughts in my head actually will never limit my body. And that was really hard, because I could say and think anything, but I'd still be walking for 4 hours. And then you're 8 miles down the road, and then you're 12 miles down the road. And then I'm sitting in a newsroom talking to you guys. It too shall pass. You're not bigger than your moment. Just hold on to it, let it go down the road, and enjoy the current.
Take us back to that moment when you were on your last mile, you finally hit the finish line. What were you feeling and what was going through your head?
I think at the time I threw my headphones in and I told my older brother that I'm going to show up and then I'm going to put my headphones on, and I'm where I am because I love my family, but everyone's worried too. I'm getting close to a ledge. There's all these things. There's just outside stimulus. So I put my headphones on and I just wanted to be with AJ. I wanted to honor, like, I don't know, like how do you get to someone's soul? How do you get to encapsulating the moment that you've been waiting for and that you've worked for and that the days felt like they would never end? And now you've got your headphones in and you can see the end and you can feel, that was the weirdest part. You could feel the weight get heavier as you walked up to that last little ledge. And when I looked over and I see that my friend didn't hit the water, he hit a highway, and it slowed things down. And I saw the rain and I saw the old beat up paper mill. And just to take in the environment, the achiness in my body, I just remember looking down at my shoes and realizing these steps aren't mine. And similar to like Moses and holy ground and whatever belief system anybody has, I just felt the ground became holy. And I got to take off my shoes and give those miles, those steps, those experiences, and those memories to my friend. And I got to say just a silly, simple worded thanks. And I miss you. And I wish you could see this. And I got to feel that and fall and just kind of like lay on the rock that my buddy jumped off of. And I don't know if I can put that in words, but hopefully with my facial expressions, my heartbeat speeding up and somebody feeling this across the screen. That's what's available because I was present and I didn't run from that pain, and I got to honor my friend. Like, I got to be a man of my word. And most people don't get to say that. Sadly, you go behind a door and all of a sudden you don't know if you want that out or not out. I'm a man of my word. I did what I said I was going to do, and that's the only thing that carried me through. And now I get to be that man, because most people say they would die for their family, they die for their tribe. I'm here to live for my tribe. I'm here to set an example for generations that I'm not going to see, not because I'm anything special, but because, gosh, that felt good. I have no accolades that show any status above in this social world, but you can't take my riches away. I got to hold my friend when I don't get him back. And I got to do something that most people told me time and time again on so many roads, you can't. It's impossible. And to know that I get to show the world that the life that AJ always wanted and missed out on is available through a few steps, a few smiles, a few handshakes, and a little bit of hope. And it takes you so far. And I get to live that. I get to carry that from 31 to whenever I'm done. And I didn't even want to rhyme right there. And there's joy in that. It doesn't come out with the inconsistency of pain, but you just get to feel it all. And I think that's a lot better than worrying about whatever these silly humans worry about. So,
Why Oregon City?
so obviously that's where he took his last steps. It was one of our last conversations. And frankly, it was just geographical. That was his last steps he took on this earth. And so I thought, hell or high water, that's exactly what it should be. I'm going to walk. I'm going to find a way to make it. So that was a short of it. Just my buddy took his last steps. That was the last phone call. And I hate to say it, it was a beautifully abysmal place to be processing who you are and where you are. So I didn't get to choose it, but I'm glad that it was a place that I had to go to, for sure.
And do you think that this is going to be something that you continue doing year after year?
I think my capability to do whatever I think about is on an all-time high, and I would like to show people that through silly things of physical movement. I would love another journey or another mission to walk with, because the walk was easy. The mental health process and work on self was hard. Sitting still was the hardest part. So if I can get on platforms and tell more stories, I've got a few ideas in the works, but I'm ready to go further. I'm ready to go further, higher, not deeper. I don't like caves. I learned that. I'm terrified of caves. But anything that's going to get higher up in a mountaintop at a view, I'll walk anywhere. So hopefully there's an opportunity, or at least something in my community that makes an impact. Because if it starts with a walk, I think we got a lot that we can do in this town.
And off camera, we were talking about the scary parts of your journey.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was the scariest part?
So among many things, running through the desert and realizing what's regulated and what's not regulated in a desert makes things interesting. The tribal and beautiful stories that I got to hear as a child of, I can't say this word, skinwalkers. People are terrified of werewolves. My sister is going to be really mad that I said that. But going on to my mom's reservation in the Indian Territory, and you can believe whatever you want, but if there's a full moon and it's pitch black outside, you hear things, and the rattling of something in a desert that you haven't seen anybody in 40 miles, or a light in the sky that is moving weird, and you're like, am I crazy? Or those would be moments like that. One of the most terrifying things was to realize, like, being near the Grand Canyon, walking by it, and then looking over and realizing that's 8,000 feet. Then there's another 8,000 feet. And then be walking on highways with such height with guardrails and semis near me. That's legitimately terrifying. There was a level that I didn't give myself credit for, that, like, people are not paying attention on the road all the time. And I was 206. I dropped all the way down to 177. And so you're hungry, achy, angry, and then you got to look to make sure your semi's not going to be on the phone. And the semis were arguably the greatest, but these little cars and short attention spans were arguably scarier than anything Mother Nature could throw at me. I knew where she was coming from, and I knew what to look for. Two-legged creatures, however, would be very, very intimidating sometimes. And roads. There was a sinkhole that we almost lost the entire van to that's about the size of this room, and that's not even a joke.
Wow.
I'm so lucky that I found a way to get around that thing, but we would drive, and you'd hit things that lights would turn on that you didn't know could turn on. We learned things about a car that I didn't know that they could do, things that I could do, and how much our government pays for roads, for sure.
Right.
Well, if there was a message that you could leave with our viewers before we end things here on this stream, what is a message that you would send?
You are enough please look into your own eyes and say that until you believe it. And there are so many miracles. And it starts with that, knowing you are there, you are here. And if you take one breath at a time, you'll figure the rest out. There is no secret. Just take a walk.
It's hard to reach out for help because you're dealing with something and you want to express those feelings and you just don't know how. So it's good to acknowledge that as well. And hopefully people will take that step and talk to someone.
Take the next step.
Yeah, and hopefully your story inspires many individuals here locally and nationwide. We hope to send that message to everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Two quick little things. Tell us about the Next Step movement.
So the Next Step movement was a chance to help everybody feel the journey of what it takes to value every step. And it was just a chance to catalog this journey, 2,560 miles, to honor my buddy AJ, who sadly lost his life by jumping off that ledge that we walked to. It was a goal to make $100,000 for mental health and suicide prevention. But what it is, the walk has stopped, but the movement continues. The goal is, with the Next Step in action, is what do we do in our local areas and how do we actually impact? Because if I'm going to call myself a nonprofit and go through writing taxes, I'm going to make an impact. I want people to feel like they're worth being here. And it doesn't take much, but it takes intention and a plan. And there's enough people in city council in the city of Austin that give a damn, and I'm going to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. So that's where the next step goes, is how do we impact our community to then show how we can impact larger entities of people? Because I'm so tired of people saying there's no way. If we can fund most of these companies and we can fund most sports teams, we can reach out and show people that they're worth opening their eyes every day. And that's what the next step is. And it doesn't start with a dollar bill. It doesn't start with any of that. It starts with people realizing that next step. So I'm going to walk my walk and talk my talk as it gets bigger and louder and further and further. So that's the next step. We're going to see where we can do in Austin. I wish I could go bigger. But all it is the understanding that we can take a next step, and I want to be a part of that ability for mental health, talking when things feel scared, and getting over our own ability to feel like we can't say anything. Once we speak, we have the chance to change. If we're silent, we lose people like AJ.
You met so many people throughout your journey. You want to give anybody a shout out?
Honestly, I wish I could give the immense amount of shout outs. There are so many thank yous on the GoFundMe that people donated dollars and bills. There's not anybody that's higher than anybody, because I have no idea the moments that if I didn't have X or Y that I could get there. I think genuinely the states that didn't arrest me, thank you. The small town people like Riley and his family, they showed up on Thanksgiving. That was immense. And they housed us and they let us run around their farm and shoot guns. That was phenomenal. And be genuine. There was, Nick, I'm not going to lie, you're off screen, but give me a shout out because some people need, do you remember any? If not, we'll keep going through. But we'll be doing a social media post to compliment everybody that has ever done the walk. Carrie, Correct Gym, I need to hit those. Vivo Barefoot, there we go. There's brain. Vivo Barefoot, a flat shoe, just a flat shoe. They gave us money to go on a walk and honor the fact that they wanted to be a part of it and put their name on my back. That's more respectful than the dollar bills and everything, but they were there in my corner. Correct Gym gave me supplements and a place to walk from, and I work there. So there were people in my tribe. And more importantly, to Pam Bradley, everybody else has done immensely wonderful things. But I said it off screen and in the back. I'm just now learning how much to give for what my parents gave for me to be right here. And frankly, I wish that was so altruistic, but I know if that's my characteristic, I get to not only honor my mom, but I get to be the dad and father and person I want to be. So Pam, thank you so much. You're so cool. And I'll tell you in person. So they just got a little sliver of how you make me feel. I love you, Mom. And Charles.
So
He
sweet.
counts.
Well, Alex, again, thank you so much. It's not easy for some people to open up, and so hopefully they'll be inspired by you. And
They darn better be. This isn't comfortable, but gosh, it works.
it does.
Yes. Hopefully, lots of people get inspired by this video and by your journey and all of the things that you've posted on your Instagram. I know the journey was not pretty, but it felt pretty, right?
Absolutely. There's beauty in the chaos.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if anyone is interested in reading up more on Alex's story, that'll be on our website, kxan.com. Thank you both for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you next time with another story.
Heck yeah. Let's do it again.